The Baltimore Orioles dropped the hammer on the Cardinals in game one, and it's another reminder that it's not just the starting rotation that will need a facelift, but the bullpen as well for next season. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio. The podcast available there as well at LO_Cardinals. We want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That way you can get $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. So last night, Baltimore Orioles, one of the best teams in baseball, and they showed why. We had a decent ball game going on there for the first 5 innings before the wheels just came flying off and ended up rolling on down the hill away from us in that 5th inning. It was tough. Dakota Hudson didn't have a great game. Got into an ugly jam, and instead of letting Hudson try and work his way out of it there in the 5th inning, which at this point of the season kind of makes sense, that you let your guy, all right, you got yourself into this. Let's see if you can get yourself out of it. I understand the thought there. Ollie said no, decided to yank him and go to the bullpen. Hudson at this time is at 80 pitches, so he's not overworked by any means. Yes, he was laboring there in that last inning, but I mean, there's times when you just got to let somebody try to get out of it, right? And I'm not saying that was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. Just personally, I feel like in the 5th inning, I would have gave him a shot. I would have gave him a shot to see if he could work his way out of this. Yes, he was leaving pitches up in the zone. Yes, he was missing his spots. I get it. Ollie decided not to. He's like, you know what? Let's go to the bullpen and go to Andre Pallante again. Now, part of this could be that we've seen plenty of Hudson. We know what he's got. We're still trying to figure out what Andre Pallante is going to be moving forward. Okay, that could be something, because last year the dude obviously really, really good. Seemed like he was going to be a key cog in the pen this year and be one of those things for years to come. They grabbed him in the 4th round back in 2019, and last year 6-5, 3.17 ERA. Beautiful. ERA plus of 122. Had a knack of being a right-handed pitcher, but is a righty who can get lefties out, which is great. Lefties batted 246 against him, while righties hit 295. And that's a valuable commodity to have in your bullpen with that 3-batter rule that they put in a couple of years ago. So I get it. This year, Pallante has been even better against lefties. You may not see it, but the stats are there. Lefties are hitting just 225 against him. Righties, they're torching him. They're hitting 376 off him. And his numbers overall, 4-1, ERA 5.26, ERA plus of 83. So that's much worse than last season. But the lefties, why we're talking about this, because that's who he was coming in to face, Cedric Mullins. The ground ball rate is up from last year, which is great news in a situation like this. 64.4 in 2022. 76.9 in 2023. So the logic is there to bring in Pallante in that situation. It's there. He does well against lefties. He gets ground balls. Maybe he gets the double play and gets you out of this. Personally, I would have liked to see what Dakota Hudson could have done in that situation. Maybe he could have induced a ground ball. And people will question whether or not Ollie maybe should have just used a left-handed pitcher altogether instead of Pallante. But for whatever reason, Ollie has been leaning on Pallante more and more here at the end of 2023. It's a guy that, at least in my eyes, Ollie feels like he can trust. In the last month, only one pitcher in Major League Baseball has more appearances than Andre Pallante. One. And that's Jacob Webb from Baltimore, who has 15. Pallante now has 14. Again, likely trying to see exactly what they have in him going forward into next year, because as much as we talk about the starting rotation and how, Mo gets asked about it, he's like, we're going to need 3 pitchers for the rotation next year. We also got to remember how bad this bullpen was earlier this season with all the blown saves and missed opportunities that contributed to this painful season that we're going through. So you're going to have to figure out somebody to put back there in the bullpen that you can rely on. Pallante's numbers have not improved. Even though he's been used more, he's been touched up pretty good, actually, in the last month. Last night obviously didn't help the cause. Instead of getting that much needed ground ball that we were all looking for, grand slam. Cedric Mullins on a breaking ball that was down and in, but in the zone, basically right in the wheelhouse for a left-handed pitcher. And Cedric Mullins puts it over the wall, puts the Orioles up 8-5. 3 of those runs get charged to Hudson, who wasn't exactly thrilled either about being taken out, telling the media after the game, I felt like we were in this situation, second and third, and I'm throwing my stuff for either a very weak contact, hold the guy at third, or I'm coming out there and trying to get some swing and miss under the zone. Guy takes it, a walk, bases loaded. I'm thinking, okay, here I am, a ground ball guy, double play opportunity potentially. That just wasn't the case. I thought communication could have been a little bit different. Okay. When Ollie was asked about the move, he said, you're at the possibility of using Matthew Liberatore at some point in that game. But with Giovanni Gallegos down today, we wanted to go Helsley in the 9th, John King in the 8th, and Libby was going to have the 7th, potentially get us out of something in the 6th, and have the 7th. So he had this game plan in his mind of how he was going to work that game from that point on. Pallante had been better recently. Had given up just 2 runs in his previous 7 appearances before Monday night and hadn't allowed a home run since August the 5th. But following last night's line, where he gave up 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 of those were dingers, in an inning and 2/3, in the last month, Andre Pallante now has an ERA of 6.92, just 5 strikeouts, walked 6, has allowed 10 runs on 18 hits, all of that in just 13 innings. So not exactly the numbers you're hoping for. So again, I know he had been pitching better, but I kind of want to roll my boy Dak right there. And it's easy for me to say that now, but in that situation at this point of the season, let's see what the guy's got. Let's see what kind of testicular fortitude the man has and see if he can get out of the jam. And if he doesn't, so what? But that's just me. Moving forward, Pallante obviously going to be back with the team and in the bullpen next season. We know that one season where things haven't quite gone all that well for pretty much anybody on the team is not going to change, that Pallante is going to be in your bullpen next year. But who else currently on this staff is going to be back in the bullpen and counted on for next year? We're going to talk about that next on Locked On Cardinals. The MLB playoffs are right around the corner, which means the clock is ticking on your chance to multiply your cash on daily fantasy by 100. Baseball has never been more exciting than it is right now. You've got all kinds of superstars doing their thing, like Trey Turner losing his mind with the Phillies right now. What was it, like 10 home runs in his last 11 games? Something crazy. Like Trey Turner, the guy that the Phillies hated pretty much the whole season. We're blaming him for how bad they were, has just gone bonkers. So you're getting, production, and you're getting games, and you're just seeing cool stuff as we move through September going into October, which is when it all counts. So what you need to do is take advantage of these situations where these great performances, don't let them go to waste. Don't let them go to waste. Use them. Pick more or less on stats for stars like Trey Turner or Ronald Acuna or Mookie Betts, their home runs, their hits. You can go with pitchers if you want it. You want to go strikeouts and more for up to 100 times payout on Sleeper. And you get those picks right, and you can win big. Now, the Cardinals and Orioles will lock up again tonight. And for yesterday, I suggested Nolan Arenado and Wilson Contreras. Those were my picks for you. If you did it, if you followed my advice, you would have gone 5 for 9, 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored. You're welcome for whoever chose that on Sleeper. If you didn't, sorry about your luck. Try better next time. Tonight, I would recommend both of them again because you've got John Means. He's a left-handed pitcher on the mound starting for the first time since having Tommy John surgery. On the other side, you've got Adam Wainwright on the mound for the Cardinals. So you might want to stock up on the Baltimore Orioles hitters considering how bad Waino has been this year. But win big. Use the promo code LOCKEDON. Get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check out Sleeper today. The Cardinals are back in Baltimore again tonight, and you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Again, thank you for making Locked on Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube and on Twitter. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. I'm sure we'll have plenty of people talking about the bullpen because that's the focus of today's show. Just talked a lot about Andre Pallante and how hasn't had a great year, has had some decent stats here and there, but he's going to be a part of this thing next year. He is. And hopefully he's better. Hopefully you're getting the 2022 version instead of what you had this year. Katie Wu at The Athletic just did an article on pitchers who are currently on the team that she believes will be a part of the Cardinals bullpen next season. And they're familiar names. First off, Ryan Helsley. He's your number one guy, right? The injury to Hells Bells was obviously a big kick in the beanbag for the pen, for him, for the team altogether. Especially after what he did last year. You know, the All-Star campaign really took his game to that next level and seemed like he was going to be something very, very special. And the injuries got him this year. He really wasn't quite as good as he was last year when he was healthy early on, but we expected a bit of regression anyway because he was so filthy last year. Like just nasty stats last season. So to repeat that would have been something crazy. But I'm just glad right now that the guy's healthy. He's healthy. He's contributing again after missing 3 months of the season. Now, since returning in September, he's thrown 4 innings, hasn't allowed a run or a hit, has struck out 6, picked up a save. And as Katie puts it, he's a weapon. He's definitely a weapon. You just got to keep him healthy. And, you're going to have to use your little kid gloves with him because he's not somebody that does well on back-to-back games. He doesn't do well pitching multiple innings in one appearance. So he's good for like 1 inning, 3 outs every other day. And that's just how you're going to have to use him because he doesn't do you any good when he's hurt. Jojo Romero. How good has Jojo been this year? What a bright spot after getting him in what seemed like that meaningless trade with Philly last year for Edmundo Sosa. He spent some time in the minors, but has been excellent since getting called up. In August, he really shined, going 2-0, 2 saves. He had a hold in 10 appearances. The team was 9-1. 9-1 in games that Jojo Romero appeared in. He had a 2.51 ERA, and what really stands out, 20 strikeouts in 14 1/3 innings, and only 1 walk. So he's not hurting himself. He's making the other team hit the ball, and more times than not, he's going to strike you out. That's what he was doing this year. Now he's dealing with knee tendonitis right now on the IL. Maybe he comes back at some point this year. That would be nice to see, but the dude has definitely earned a spot in this bullpen for next year. Giovanni Gallegos. All right, man. So the Jekyll and Hyde of this staff. Never really know what's going to show up because when he's on, he's quite good. But when he's off, he is really, 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 really bad. I don't know anyone who watches this team and when they see Gio come out of that gate has a lot of faith in what's going to happen on that mound. The guy always makes me nervous. And Katie Wu pointed out in her article how much worse he's been against lefties this year. And obviously the home runs have been a real problem. Those are the 2 things he's going to have to work on for 2024 because he, again, is going to be back in this bullpen. And for the couple of years before this year, he's been pretty sturdy. Like you didn't dislike what you were getting out of Gio. This year's been rough. He's allowed 10 long balls this season, which is tied for 4th amongst relievers in baseball. So got to work on that. And then lastly, she brings up John King, who they just got recently at the trade deadline from the Rangers. It's been a pleasant surprise. 1.64 ERA in 12 appearances, and definitely will get a shot at making the opening day roster next year. I don't want to say he's in ink in the bullpen for next year, but definitely a number 2 pencil has written him in pretty dark, considering what he's done at the end of this year since coming over from the Rangers. I've enjoyed myself some John King. So the one thing she does point out about the guys that are coming back as a glaring weakness from this group is that outside of Helsley, they don't throw very hard and they don't have a lot of swing and miss stuff. Now, Romero has been better this year than he has in the past. Is that something that will continue? Hopefully. But compared to a lot of other top bullpens, like what you see out of Baltimore, they're just not built the same. And who else is going to go back there next year? Will Hudson, Rom, Liberatore, or Zach Thompson be bullpen guys next year? Like if they go out and trade and sign and get the 3 starters they're looking for, like do all of those guys go to the bullpen? Like you can't have them all in the rotation. You go down to the Memphis roster, which I have, and you look at their relief corps, not a whole lot going on there. Guillermo Zuniga was somebody that a lot of people wanted to see, but he wasn't pitching very well at Memphis. 7.63 ERA. Wilking Rodriguez, somebody that was supposed to be a part of the bullpen. Spring training, Rule 5 guy, got hurt. He's back. He's pitching on a rehab stint down at Memphis right now. So far, so good. But someone to keep an eye on for next spring. At Double-A Springfield, you do got a guy that stood out to me just looking at the stats. Former 14th round pick in 2021, Andre Granillo, 14 saves, 4.42 ERA, but 72 Ks in 55 innings. He misses bats. That is something you really, really need in high leverage situations. So that's promising. Matt Swanson, who they got in the Paul DeYoung deal with Toronto, has pitched well since coming over. What do you do with some of those young starting arms that are down at AAA and AA right now that you're so high on? Do any of them get moved to the bullpen? Tink Hentz, Michael McGreevy, Takoa Roby, Gordon Graceffo, Cooper Jerpy, Sim Robertson, Adam Kloffenstein. You got all these guys down there. All of them are starting right now. Are they all going to be starters? They're all just going to stay at AAA or lower as a starter next year? I mean, can some of them contribute in the bullpen for you next season for St. Louis? We'll see. I got an update on Dylan Carlson for you next on Locked on Cardinals. Don't move. Buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. Great deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over those tickets, how you're going to get them, and just start getting excited about the fun you're going to have. Forget about planning months in advance. Gametime will have deals available on tickets right up to the day of the event. I just mentioned this past weekend in Cincinnati. Got some tickets the night before, actually the morning of. I was looking them up the night before. Morning of the game on Friday, I went on to Gametime and found some tickets that were cheaper than they were the night before. It works out nicely. So they've got the flash deals on tickets for all your favorite sports. I know college football, NFL football in full swing. Basketball's coming, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater. Gametime's got it all for you guys. And they've got that Gametime guarantee, which means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime credits you 110% of the difference. They're sent directly to your phone, so get the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The Cardinals are back at Camden Yards again tonight to face the Orioles, and you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Name that we have not really talked a whole lot about recently because there just wasn't really any updates is that of Dylan Carlson. Has dealt with a bunch of injuries this year. You had the ankle thing going on, and now he's got the oblique strain, placed on that 10-day injured list back on August the 12th. So we are an exactly month out from when he went on that injured list because of the left oblique strain. Former first-round pick felt something in that left side when he was swinging during his first at-bat on August 9th against Tampa Bay at St. Petersburg. They're hoping that it wasn't going to be anything major. Ended up being worse than they thought. Kept out of the lineup the next 2 games before imaging revealed that he had the strain, resulting in this IL stint that he's currently on. And apparently still dealing with some left ankle soreness from that left ankle injury that he suffered way back in May. Received a pain-killing injection in that ankle on August 21st. So he's all banged up. But good news. Dylan Carlson has resumed light baseball activity, hitting and running, but there's no concrete timetable yet for his return. Will we see him again in 2023? I doubt it. I mean, again, there's really no need to push him and to get him out there in the outfield. You're doing fine. O'Neill, Nootbaar, Walker, Edman, they're locking it down. There's really no reason to bring Dylan Carlson back any sooner than he needs to be. I just say, hey, just get healthy, chill out a little bit. We'll see you next year. That would be my advice. But we'll see. We'll see. These guys are gamers. They want to play, so we'll see what happens. What is concrete is that Adam Wainwright will be back on the mound tonight looking for win 199 in Baltimore. And as much as it pains us to watch him get blasted each and every night, it's must-see TV. You got to watch it. It's knowing that a train wreck is coming. But what if? What if he miraculously pulls it off and picks up that historic win? You got to watch it. And that's what I'll be doing tonight. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Be sure to catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast. For the rest of this series against Baltimore, the Phillies are on deck. So not an easy week for the Redbirds, but you can do all of this with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals again tonight. Adam Wainwright against John Means, making his first start of the season at the major league level after having Tommy John surgery last year. First pitch will be at 5:35 St. Louis time. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at JD Sports Radio and at LO_Cardinals. Like and subscribe on YouTube. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.